Oh God, oh my God, I have so much to say on this. I still, you know what?
I'm Elle. And I'm Pat, and we are Paddock 43. And this is your F1 fix.
Good morning, Patty. How are you?
I'm good. I did not get enough sleep, but I'm good. I'm excited. I'm drinking my coffee and we are here.
You were drinking St. Ali coffee? No, wait, you can't be because I've got the St. Ali coffee. Sorry, I answered my own question.
I'm like, yeah, no.
We have a very exciting interview today.
We can pretend I'm drinking St. Ali coffee.
Okay, yes, that's very good St. Ali coffee. It's the orthodox blend, clearly, that you're having, or the wide awake one.
Yes.
Very exciting interview today, one that we've been itching to do for a while. We are interviewing Sophie Milner. So Sophie, I've been following her, or Sophie, I'm just going to say Sophie from now on because it's so much easier. It's 6 a.m. for us. Is a wonderful person. I've been following her on Instagram and socials for quite some time, and I just love everything that she is doing. She is just an effortlessly cool person to follow. She is a fashion creator. She's a cultural commentator, and she's also Formula One obsessed. So naturally, we love her.
We have to get her on.
Exactly. So we're going to get into the rise of the female fan in this interview, the influencer wave crashing into the paddock, and whether brands are really paying attention to that and how they're responding to the F1 fashion collabs and female fan base. And honestly, I'm just very excited. How are you feeling, Patty?
Woo! I'm excited too. Also, hi, Sophie.
Excited. Also, you called me effortlessly cool. No one's ever called me effortlessly cool before, so I'm really very flattered by that.
I was going to say iconic.
Honestly,
God,
you are.
You're really nice. Thank you.
You're one of those people that I remember discovering you through, I don't know, maybe in TikTok or Instagram first. I can't even remember. It was a while ago. And I just thought, I like this person, like right away. You just gave off the best vibe, and everyone should know that about you.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm so excited to be on here and talk about everything, like female F1 fans, everything related to that, because like it's just such an exciting space at the moment. So yeah, and I'm just so glad that you guys have gotten really early to talk to me, and you guys are drinking your morning coffee and I'm having my bedtime tea. So
it looks delicious though. I'm kind of like, now I want a tea.
I will admit I haven't even had my coffee yet. I am coffee free at the moment.
Oh
so,
my
Yep. Don't judge.
She's doing well.
She's doing well. She's doing very well. But hey, Soph, so we love to start off with a little warm-up lap.
You haven't been pre-warned about this.
Ideally, it's your most embarrassing story, but a lot of the time people are like, I'm taking that to the grave. That's not happening. So even if it's something we don't know about you, but ideally an embarrassing story.
Oh, I have plenty, and it is like, this is like a very, very typical one, and it's like one of these ones that's actually recalling it is not that as bad as it was. But so my background is fashion and fashion journalism, and I was interning at the Times at their fashion desk, and I got sent to this really important fashion show during Fashion Week, and I was really excited. And obviously in like true fashion form, it was like, I'm going to wear something really fancy, I'm really going to dress up. So I put on these like really big like hideous heels. I look back at it now, could hardly walk in them. And I remember, because I had all of the senior members' tickets to go to the fashion shows, because I was just an intern, they were looking and they were just like, oh, front row. And they look at me, and I'd run into the show late. The show was just about to start. God, I was so young at this time. I must have been like 22, so this was a really long time ago now. And I walk in, and the first thing I do, bearing in mind you have to walk onto the runway, my ankle just gives way. Not only just a little fall, but a full ankle, and then smack, like on the runway. And that's before the fashion show even began. And even now, like, it's making me really hot thinking about it, because everybody looked. And this was like at the time where people were, everyone had, like, still had smartphones. God, I'm really showing my age. Everyone had smartphones back then.
No, we're old too.
We're old too. Right. We're all the same age. I think I'm 31.
I'm 32.
I'm 33. So, you know, we're early 30s, guys.
We love it.
Yeah. So this was like when I was 22, and everyone still had phones, but I'm just so glad that social media wasn't quite as big as it is now, because that would have been like all over TikTok. And obviously people, these photos will exist somewhere. It's just I didn't get socially shamed as much, but it's like I had such fear of falling over in places, because I do it all of the time, and it was such a bad fall. My shirt also came off, so I flashed like my underwear, everything. It was just like when Carrie Bradshaw
runway.
during the runway show. Oh my God. So yeah, that was very embarrassing. Thank you all.
Can I make you feel better about my most embarrassing fall? You've just got me thinking.
Please do.
So I was at boarding school, and at boarding school, when not anymore, I don't think, because, you know, the world has changed. So this is like 15 years ago. There was a tradition that in the middle of the night, as part of your initiation, you had to run to one of the male boarding houses, butt naked, into their courtyard, touch the door, and run back to your house. I slipped in the courtyard in the middle of the night, and all the boys stand in the windows of the courtyard, and I was just as fresh new into high school, butt naked, slipped in initiation, and never touched the door, and all the other girls had left. Anyway, boarding schools changed now.
Especially at that age, it's like
I would have been
everything
is
like, okay, well, I'm going to die now.
14, 15 or something like that. I hope my parents aren't listening.
Social
Oh,
suicide.
shit. I'm going to tell them not to listen to this episode. Oh, well. Anyway. That's what my school was like.
I love these stories.
Look, we should probably get into the rest of the episode now. Thank you for sharing that, though. Appreciate that. Give the people a rundown on who you are, from, you know, talking about fashion online and now to Formula One. Can we say fangirl, because we're all fangirls? How did the obsession start?
Yeah, so I am going to be so unoriginal in saying this, and I don't even care. I'll say it with my chest. It came from Drive to Survive. It was probably 4 years ago I started watching it, and at like the recommendation of some of my friends, and I got into it. I think I watched like the first series, and then it was when the season was still running, so I started watching it as well, and then I started watching them kind of in tandem. Obviously the timelines were totally off, but still that's how I got into it, and I was just like, this is really cool. And I'd never really been into sports properly as a fan, only ever really like a football fan when the World Cup's on and the Euros and things like that. So I was like, wow, it's really cool to be into something and really enjoy it. And it just came from that. And I got really obviously into the drivers, into the teams, seeing how the dynamics work. And I just really fell in love with the sport. It was something so different compared to all the other previously.
Was there like a specific race or something that really sealed the deal for you, where you were like, yep, this is it?
You know what? It wasn't even a specific race per se. It was just like, I actually, like, more than anything, it was a specific person. I feel like most women who watch Drive to Survive had this. It was Danny Rick. It was just falling in love with Danny Rick as a person. And I know, like, obviously from then going on to watching the races and the season, and then seeing how Netflix portray it and how different things can be that way. You know, you really see that Danny Rick, like, I'm not going to say he had a good edit because he's a bad guy, but he got hyped up so much. They really showed him in such great light. And I was like, wow. I was like, this guy is so cool. And like, it was that really pulled me into it. So yeah.
I really believe that he is one of the reasons that show took off so much, and that he could be partly or mostly responsible for this rise and surge in the fan base, and making it more pop culture relevant, especially Lewis Hamilton in the early days of the series. Those two together, boom.
Absolutely. I completely agree, because I remember seeing, like, you know, you've watched a lot of sports stars and things like that across the years through different mediums, different things like interviews or whatever. And I just remember being like, Danny Rick really seems to have it all. Like, he was, you know, he was so likable, so personable. Like, I don't even feel like and we can talk about this, about, like, you know, like, female fans just fancy the drivers. Like I didn't even really look at him in like oh yeah, he's really fit way. I was like, he's just so cool and nice, funny, and like, he's everything that like a sports star who's in a very public facing sport should be. So, which obviously not everyone can, not everyone has that quality about them. But yeah, I just
charisma.
I do really think that we could credit him for a lot, which is so sad, because, you know, he's no longer with us. So
I think the thing as well about these men is what they do is just so rare. Like, there's so many football players, you know, there's like so many leagues across the world, but there are 20 of them. Like,
this is it. It's crazy. And I think this is one of the things that people really don't seem to get about it. And when, like, you know, you're talking to someone and they're trying to be like, yeah, well, football this and football that. And I'm like, they're like, why do you like Formula One so much? And I'm like, only 20 drivers. It is so competitive because there are only 20 drivers. And a lot of it's always guys, it's always men that have this argument with.
Always men.
And they're like, but that's what makes it boring because there's them.
Oh.
Because there's like, you know, there's all these football teams and anyone can come out of anywhere and do it. And I'm like, I do understand that, but it's for that reason I find Formula One so interesting, because there's only 20 of them. It's crazy. It's so competitive. It means that when someone loses their seat and someone gets a seat, it is such a big deal. And it makes it interesting. And also on the perspective of fans, it does make you feel like you really are invested in them because there is just 20. Like, you feel like you get to know them. Like, you know, everyone seems to have parasocial relationships with them, for better or for worse. But it really helps kind of drive that whole aspect behind the fandom.
I was gonna say, do you think that the the F1 world was ready for that rise of the female fan? Like, I personally don't think they were expecting that from Drive to Survive, and there definitely was a surge there. Or do you think they're just catching up to it now?
I don't feel like that. I still don't think they're ready. I don't think anyone could ever be ready for female fandom. It's on such a whole different level, and especially, I think they are catching up. They are catching up to it now, but they weren't ready. I still don't feel like they're fully ready. For so many reasons, I feel like the way that female fans generally get treated by other fans, not great. The sport is obviously an incredibly male-dominated sport, and it's very difficult to break into certain aspects of that for women going into motorsport, like as a career, whether it's like obviously I don't want to say a real career as opposed to a social career. They're both real careers, but you know what I mean. And it's just I don't think they were ready for it, because female fans have always been criticized and like mocked and looked down upon. Like, you know, people don't take things that women tend to really love seriously. Like, look at Taylor Swift, for example. I could never do a podcast without talking about Taylor Swift.
She's come to the right place.
Don't worry, we emailed. Well, I can't speak this morning. We interviewed a F1 journalist, Luke Smith, and the first thing that we did was talk about Taylor Swift. So you're fine.
We love it. We love the combo of Taylor Swift and Formula One. But I feel like anything that women really, really love is tend to look down upon. And I think a lot of for female F1 fans, there was this whole element of it being this boys' club that suddenly women were interested in, and the men were like, oh, we don't want these hysterical, silly little women getting into our thing, which is like the men's thing. And I think that's how that really came across. And you still see it now. And I think the sport itself being so male dominated, they aren't quite, they're getting used, but I still don't think they know exactly what to do with it and how to utilize it, because I think also what's like seriously overlooked, spending power and what women bring. Like, women drive the economy, and I think it's like, I mean for me to be like, you need to look at female fans as money, like that's probably going to make me sound like a bit, but like from a marketing perspective,
but it's true.
Yeah, it's like there's so much to do. There's so much the sport could do for its female fans. And I know obviously, like, you know, this F1 Academy, and that's not made for female fans, but it's made for the sport in general to make it more of an inclusive space and to drive female motorsports and drivers towards that. But I still think there's a long way to go.
Yeah, it is interesting because last week we interviewed Chloe Grant, who was, ex F1 Academy driver, and she was saying, we asked her about how she feels being a woman within the industry, and she was saying that, and which was quite refreshing as well. And when she spoke about it, I was like, I do get this vibe where she's like, I've never felt overlooked in the industry, and she's always felt like, regardless that she's a woman, she's never felt different. She's like, once you go in the paddock, regardless if you're a man or a woman, whatever, you're considered the same. I think the issue though is the fans. It's like these old school motorsport fans, like what you were saying, where they're like, no, this is our thing. Like, why are you stepping into our world? But it's like everyone, you know, we look at team principals. I don't think they give a shit that they've got females in their team. There's women everywhere in the paddock from all different levels in teams. And I don't think that that's ever looked down on. It's just these fans. They're like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more.
It was quite interesting, actually, just at the Miami Grand Prix, that McLaren, they brought up their CMO onto the stage. Not to the stage. Wow. Sorry. The podium.
On the stage. I mean, to be fair,
on the podium.
like a stage.
But that
Such a big
apparently
podium.
that was the first time in like 4 or 5 years that any female had really been up on the podium, which is I think that's a bit nuts. That's a bit weird, but maybe there's just not the positioning there. But anyway.
But doesn't that just show that they can do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I was like, oh.
I know. It's crazy. I think, but like, it's definitely, I think, a more of a fan issue, and I think more of like a kind of just general like misogyny issue when it comes to like female fans more than anything, because I get a lot from guys, and it's like there's this big thing over here in the UK, and like I'm single and was on dating apps, and people like talk about hinge prompts and be like, oh yeah, like my favorite thing to do on a Sunday is like Formula One and a walk and a roast dinner, and it's become like one of these like hinge cliches. And it's now become such a cliche for both men and women to put that. But women don't seem to take the piss out of men for liking that. But men really take the piss out of women for liking it. And I don't get embarrassed to say it, but I almost like, wait, when I speak to a new guy and I tell them that I like Formula One, I wait for them to be like, ugh, another one, because that's been the reaction so many times. They just seem to have this real weird thing. And then I remember one guy I went out with was really, really like took the piss out of me for it. Was like, oh my God, oh, another Formula One fan. Oh my God, I bet you love to go for like a walk and a roast on a Sunday and watch the Formula One. And I was just like, why do you care? And I don't understand why, and he wasn't even a Formula One fan. So even he's just a guy who seems to have an issue with women liking something, which was a big red flag anyway to me.
I mean, that's a good vetoing process.
It is.
Straight away be like, okay, you suck, next.
Also, what's wrong with Formula One on a Sunday and a walk and a roast? That sounds like the perfect kind of day to me. If someone said that,
like my ideal Sunday.
If someone said that to me, I'd be like, cool. How often are we doing this?
Green flag.
This is the thing, because women, we will look at it and be like, wow, that does sound like the perfect Sunday. Wow, this guy's cool. Oh my God, he's into Formula One. Awesome. Now I've got someone to like get up at 3 a.m. and watch the races with. Yay. Whereas they look at it being like, oh my God, that's really lame that she's like, oh my God, and they look at it, they're like, oh, is it because of the drivers? You think the drivers are hot? And they do that whole thing. And I just don't understand why women are so much more accepting over men being fans of things, whereas men don't seem to be over women being fans of things, and it's just frustrating. It's like we still haven't gone past that, and it's incredibly annoying.
It is a frustrating one. It is very frustrating, but we're getting there. We are definitely getting there. But I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and sort of talk about the influencer and the motorsport world. So there's a massive growth of creators, obviously like you, who are blending lifestyle content with motorsport. What do you think F1 is becoming, or why do you think F1 is becoming such a fertile ground for influencers and brands?
Oh, you know what? I will say, since doing Formula One stuff, it has actually opened a whole new world for me. And bearing in mind, like for any like I am still predominantly fashion. It's like my main thing, and just general lifestyle. But when I started talking about Formula One, it was crazy, like the things I started getting invited to, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And I think it's just because it is such a growing sport, and it's just such a hot ticket at the minute. Everyone wants to be involved with it, and I think it's like, whether it's brands, like people who are just like, what is this Formula One? What is this cars? What is everyone talking about? And I just think it's I think it's fascinating seeing it happen and seeing it grow. And I think as being a creator in the space, it's been really interesting watching more, brands get involved, that, you see brands taking people to the races that you never would necessarily have expected. And I know some people are very against this and some people are very for it. And I think there's got like positives and negatives to it. But it's just I just think it's so interesting. It happened quite a bit with tennis as well, with Wimbledon over here. But it is really, it's like, oh my God, one of my friends described it as, she was just like, Formula One girls, and she didn't mean it by any offensive note. She was like, Formula One girls are like, what One Direction girls once were. She's like, the hot, cool girls are all into Formula One. Like they were into One Direction, and I was never a One Direction fan, to be honest. But it's interesting seeing it develop. Like it really is. I love to see it, and being part of it is incredible. And I've got to do some really cool things, like go to Maranello with Ferrari.
I was gonna ask you. I'm a big Ferrari fan, and I was like, oh my god. I'm like, I want to play by play.
You know what? It actually came with like on a real personal note. It was a real okay. This was not February this year. This was last February. I just literally broke up with my boyfriend, and like I was there, like I need a sign from the universe telling me that I've made the right decision. And that afternoon, I got an email being like, "Hey, I just wondered if you're free next week because we're doing a trip with Peroni and Ferrari to Maranello, like lunch with Charles Leclerc, like some really fun activations happening. Do you want to come?" And I was just
Did you
like,
think it was a
"Oh my God,
prank?
it's my sign from the universe." Oh, honestly, you know what? I kind of like I have to read it about 5 times and be like, oh my God. So yeah, that was just so cool, and that was honestly awesome, and it was such a cool trip, and it was an amazing opportunity to get to go there as well and get to see it.
So cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it was right before a few days after they'd announced that Lewis was going to be moving to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Obviously there was like they were like, you're not allowed any questions about Lewis. You're not allowed to ask any questions about like, you know, Carlos, any of that stuff. It was all very much so like you've literally just got to talk about X, Y, and Z. But it was really cool. So, but this is the thing, like these opportunities seem to come out of seemingly nowhere, but it is obviously that I think there are just so many brands and teams really want influencers to be part of it. And I get it, because it's from someone who has previously been obviously just in fashion. I think the first time I really sort of experienced the power behind like fans in Formula One was when I went to a McLaren event and I met Lando and Oscar and had pictures with them, and I just posted them on my Instagram, and then I went on Twitter like a few days later and realized they'd been taken off like my Instagram, had gone viral on Twitter with loads of people commenting. They were all saying really funny, cute things, and I was just like, oh wow. And then I kept seeing my own pictures pop up on my explore feed from like fan pages.
That's me.
Yeah.
being like, oh, fan's standing next to a fan, and I was just like, yeah, he is. But I was just like, wow, this is so cool, because people just want, like, fans just want to get every little bit of information. We're so engaged. So when these brands put on these influencer activities and like things for press, things for influencers, creators to come and like show bits of it, it is so powerful. And I've never seen. I've been a full-time influencer for 8 years. I've been doing this for 10. I've never seen anything quite as powerful as like bringing on creators into the F1 space and like how it can just create such a moment. It's amazing.
I have a question. And I'm intrigued, and I'm sorry, Elle, I know that you were going to ask something, but how do you feel about, and I know that there'll be a lot of listeners as well listening to this and thinking this, because I know Elle and I have seen it a lot as well. How do you feel about, obviously the influencer and the content creator market is huge within the F1 world, but how do you feel about, we see a lot of content creators that kind of know nothing about the sport and get invited into these events? What's your take on that? Like, how do you feel about that?
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on this, and it's not a real clear-cut answer. So, like, originally, when I was just getting into the sport, I was just a bit like I was there like, look, it is what it is. Things that like people get really annoyed about it, and I get it, but it's always been this way with everything. Like whether it's been like a sporting event, whether it's been a fashion event, whether it's anything, people get invited, whether it's like influencers, celebrities, you know, and they're not interested in the thing, whether it's people who go on like base because like their work are a sponsor and they're going on like this big corporate work thing and they get invited to stuff. So I feel like people just kind of need to get over it a bit and stop getting so pissed off about it. However, I will say as well, from the perspective of someone who has watched people be invited to really fucking cool things that I would, sorry if I'm not allowed to swear, you're gonna have to.
No, you can swear, it's fine.
But seeing people get invited to stuff that I would like actually die to be invited to, and I know that these girls or guys are not fans of the sport, and like they're not even, I know that they're just there because it's a fun day out for them.
Seat filler.
I feel like yeah, and I can see why they want to go. They're like, well, this is cool, I'm not going to turn down this opportunity, but I also know they have no interest in sport and knowing or becoming fans, so it can kind of sting. I get why it stings because I've watched it happen to people that I know will never be interested in the sport again, but at the same time I'm like, you know what, like I also see the value of it because there's so many people that might look at that and be like, oh, I love Jessica, we'll call her Jessica. I love Jessica and I love her like that she does. It's really cool. I keep seeing people talk about Formula One. She's at the Formula One. I'm gonna give it a watch. And like it does work like that. So I have really mixed views on it. Like there is an inherent jealousy that I as a human naturally have when I see people get these opportunities, and I'm like, I could have gone to that and I could have done some really content.
Yeah, I could have spoken about this really well.
At the same time, it's like I also understand that like a lot of teams, a lot of brands, they don't necessarily want to work with the same people. And I always remember speaking to I don't know name exactly the team and what it was, but I went on it like an event day with a team, and they said, they were like, you know, someone from the PR agency were like, well, we don't really, because I was like, no one here is purely motorsport content creators. And they were like, we don't really want to work moment with just motorsport content creators. We want to work with people who are from different niches, who have shown maybe a little bit of interest, if maybe no interest, but like they have said via email they would be interested in it or have a interest they haven't shared online before, because they're like, we want to capture new audiences. They're like, we want to get the new audiences who may not be into sport, and that's what we're aiming to get at the moment, and that I can understand. So but as a fan, it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, I can't lie. Yeah.
I remember when at AusGP on race day, it was, I don't know if you remember, but the weather had turned. It was like, it had gone from being like 37 degrees to freezing. And we bumped into someone who was there with and he came up to us and was, you know, we're chatting to him, and he was like basically trying to stick to us because it's like there are all these people that got invited that just decided not to come because it was raining. And I was like...
And they had like proper Paddock hospitality passes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they just went, nah, we're not going.
See, this is why I feel it is important for brands that like, and I don't like, you know, who are bringing people to really kind of maybe do their research and be like, oh, so-and-so interested in this kind of thing. It's very easy to lie about it and then drop out thing. But at the same time, it's like, I think it's just ask the questions before, because this stuff costs a lot of money.
I even know a girl, if you just want to be frustrated more, she was an ambassador for something at the AusGP, and she obviously got, for one of the brand activations, she obviously got passes for all 4 days, Thursday to Sunday, and she went to 1.5 of those days, and she had like the top tier pass. And she was being paid to be there, but she didn't have. It wasn't an obligation to go. She just said, "Nah, just can't bother going on the weekend."
You know what? When I hear things like this, I actually almost don't even get frustrated. I'm just like, you know what? That's the way the world works, and I think it's just it's unfortunate. I feel like this brand aren't going to get what they really wanted out of it, because, you know, and that's up to them. Yeah, I just think they got to like find someone who has a genuine passion for something as well, because I just think like even.
You get more out of it as
now
well.
We're like, really like deep the marketing side of it. Like, it is good to invite people who maybe not are new to something, but like honestly, inviting someone who actually has a genuine interest in it, but maybe in other niches, like myself, it's like you're gonna get like so much content from it, so much exposure, because these are the people who actually understand the sport, they're into the sport, and they're like, this is so cool, and the enthusiasm really shows through the content. And instead of someone really taking one like photo at the GP and being like, oh my God, thank you so much at so-and-so for inviting me, you're going to get someone who's going to do stories, they might do a vlog, They're going to do like TikToks. They're going to do all of this stuff. They're going to do breakdowns of the outfits that they wanted to wear. They're going to do all this additional content because of this, because they're like, I'm not going to waste this opportunity. And then they're going to obviously have the brand, whoever's taking them with them, tagging them and everything. So it's just like, it makes so much more sense to do that. But also, look, I am just one person. I am not a whole marketing department for every really cool brand. So yeah.
I just had an idea, and maybe this can be a call out. This can be a call out to content creators and brands.
Yeah.
If you're ever in that position where you're invited to an F1 event and you don't want to go, maybe do like speak to the brand and say, hey, don't think I can go on that day, but can I do a giveaway? Or like, can I give this to like someone that's really going to like make the most out of it, and like they will just have the most epic time? Because I can guarantee there would be so many people out there that would be like, me, like I will take that spot and like do it justice.
Well, that's the thing. Even if they did it as like a giveaway to like a fan or something, the engagement and the hype that would get would honestly like, then also it would make whoever is doing the giveaway look really good as well, because it'd get great engagement for them, for the brands. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see like an increase in things. And you know what, I know some most of my friends here in London are actually creators, and so many of them have been invited to race, and they weren't necessarily into it. And I've always been, when I've seen them go, I've always been like happy for them. Like, oh, you know what? I really hope they like really get into the sport after it. And I have gone on to see them get really into it, and then they'll watch it the weekends. Not every weekend necessarily. They're definitely more like casual fans. But I'm now like, yay, okay, like we've got another one. Like, and I'm like, I'm glad that they invited them because they were receptive and they really got into it and thought it was super cool. But yeah, hopefully we'll see some like happy middle ground come, because I think I'm such a fence sitter when it comes to this. It's definitely like a head versus heart kind of argument for me about logic versus emotion. So yeah, but there's a lot of feelings there.
One of the major changes in a lot of sport, I mean, I think we started seeing this originally with tennis, and then Lewis Hamilton brought this into the F1 world. We saw a lot of fashion intersecting with F1, and it was happening both on and off the track. Who do you think is winning that style game at the moment? Do you think it's the drivers or their girlfriends, or is it the teams and their liveries? What is your take?
Oh my God, I have so much to say on this. I still, you know what? So much to say. I would usually say the drivers, and I would say Lewis, but obviously like at the minute we don't know what he's got going on with Ferrari, if he signed some certain contract saying that he has to like only really wear like his team kit and stuff, because he hasn't been throwing any looks, like major looks at all, which has been very sad. So I'd like to see more of that. So I haven't really been too impressed with any of the drivers' Paddock styles so far this year, which is annoying.
Agreed.
It happened. I would say someone who a couple of people I thought have been dressing pretty well, not quite in the past couple of races, but Pierre Gasly has been delivering quite a bit. And who else has been doing really? Fernando Alonso's been dressing pretty like swish recently, like not like really out there, but like I'm like, yeah, he's looking smart, he's making an effort. But I think I really want to see more from the WAGs as well, because I think as women, we love looking at like what other women are wearing and going to them for style inspiration. And they dress so well. I really love the fact that the WAGs who went to the Jeddah race, like they were very, obviously the outfits that they wore, they were really respectful to the culture, but still showing their personal style. I think they looked amazing. Like Alexandra's amazing. Everyone loves her.
She slays.
Fantastic, like a great ambassador for road. Like she is, it's incredible. And I think it really gives to the girlies like what we want to see, because obviously we can appreciate as female fans, we can appreciate what the men are wearing, but we also want to see what the girls are wearing, because that's the stuff that we can really replicate a lot more easier and might want to replicate. And often they're wearing brands which are very affordable for us. Like, you know, like I'm pretty sure Alex is not an official Meshki ambassador. It's definitely like an ambassadorship somewhere, because she's already she's wearing, you know, she's worn one of my friends' brands, Sydney Lane, before. Like she's wearing Realization Par, like things that are kind of within the affordable range.
Mid-tier.
Yeah, and like Lioness as well. She wears like Lioness, and it's just really cool seeing them wear brands which are so attainable for the actual fans themselves. I love to see it. And then also just really want to quickly talk about can we please talk about V-Carb's Barbie Pink Miami livery?
Always.
Oh my god.
And also the pink suits they wore.
Yeah.
It was so
Oh my god.
good.
Elle and I were like, we need these
One of my
hats. We need these
favorites.
hats.
They've become like my favorite team at the minute. Like their social content killing it. Like
Killing it.
they are just so fun. They're really fun. I think they've really found their place, and I think they're really interacting and working. They're listening to their fans. They're responding to what their fans like really want, and they've got it, and I really love it. But just the pink car, I want to keep it forever.
Everything.
They're almost.
I know. I'm like, can you guys just keep it?
Yeah, I always think that V-Carb is almost acting like a brand bringing on influencers as well, and touching on what you said earlier, that they're going to extremes to invite new audiences and reach new audiences, and they're welcoming them and saying, hey guys, we're here for anyone and everyone. Come to us. We're the Gen Z team. Let's have fun.
Yeah. I really like it. I think it feels incredibly inclusive. I love what they're doing. And I think as well, I mean, they've got a good car this year as well compared to previous years as well. So I'm just there like, yeah, go guys. Yeah. I love it. I really do.
Also, Isaac Hadjar, like I mean, Elle knows this, but okay, so you know how at some races, like the rookies go out in first free practice? And so last season I was like, I just feel like this Isaac Hadjar has bad attitude. And now I'm like a complete 180. I'm like, I love him.
I was the same as you.
I love him. Yeah.
I felt the same. And I don't know what it was. Even in like his little snippet in his intro, I was like, he's giving me bad vibes. And then completely changed. I just like, he's so funny. I think he seems so funny. So sweet. Like I love him. Big fan.
I know. I'm like, we must protect him at all costs.
He's one of my favorite. I only want to say one off just because I love Kimi Antonelli right now. Obviously, he's doing so well. He's like such an adorable little baby. Kimi and Isaac, I just love. They're my faves.
Yeah, Elle and I, we're on the same train. We're like, yep, Kimi and Isaac, we're obsessed. Like they are our number one rookies for sure.
Amazing, love
but how on the topic of fashion, how do you feel about the new surge of F1 inspired fashion? So there's like a bunch of brands doing fashion drops and F1 drops.
Okay, I also have a lot of thoughts on this because, like, from someone who has been, my background was fashion journalism, and I have my own fashion brand, and I've been in the industry for a long time. I am so like I'm happy we're seeing more, but first of all, there is still not enough. And second of all, there is not enough stuff for women. There still isn't enough stuff for women. Everything, like, there's a lot of unisex stuff, but there's a lot of stuff geared towards men, and women will then default by being like, yeah, I'm going to buy the man's jacket. And, like, I'm going to wear the man's jacket because, the girlies can wear the boys' jackets. But it's like, why the fuck is there not enough? There needs to be more female stuff. And this is going back to what I was saying about how, like, women drive the economy with, like, spending stuff. I need to know why there isn't more women's cute merch and stuff like that. And I know obviously like it's difficult for like brands to get licensing and stuff like that, but it's possible and doable. Like McLaren, they really lead the way when it comes to doing collabs and things like that. Their Reese collab is always wonderful, but definitely a higher price point compared for a lot of the female brands. They always do like a good selection of like more affordable pieces, like the little t-shirts and things like that, which are definitely more affordable for those brands. But you've got like even Abercrombie. I am a big Abercrombie fan, and I went on their website the other day to be like, oh, I wonder what McLaren stuff they've got at the moment, because I know, and they also do stuff with Red Bull as well now. And I typed in McLaren on the website, and it gave up one option for women's, but like 20 for men. And I was just like, I'm really bored of wearing a baggy t-shirt. I'm bored of buying a men's jacket, and I honestly would just love to sit down and just go through and just do some like design some like merch collab stuff, because there is so much stuff that women want. Like it's really easy.
Like there's a space. I think there's a gap.
I think I know someone that you could collab with.
I think I know someone I could collab because
I think we might have to talk offline.
This is the thing. The smaller brands are doing it far better than any big brand I've really seen. And do you know what I really do hope to see this year? Obviously, we know Ferrari has their own like designer Ferrari style line, which is incredible. But I really want to see now Lewis is at Ferrari, and I don't even know if I get it, but I just would really love to see like a more development on their merch line, and their merch is actually really lovely. Their Puma Motorsport collection is really nice, but once again, pretty much entirely men's, wearing women's stuff, and it makes me it does make me really. I have like,
and it's just very like.
It's literally just here's one I made earlier.
Oh, I
I've
love
been beading
this.
my own little like merch.
Yes, I love
I like
it.
hand beaded a Ferrari top because I was like,
How?
oh, cute like baby fit tee. And I've been doing like an Aston Martin like car design because I was like, I'm sick and tired of there not being cute enough merch for women.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my own. So yeah,
How
like
do you bead? Okay, can we take? I want to learn after. I want one of those. I want one of those. The thing with like with the Ferrari. I mean, I always talk on Ferrari, but the Ferrari and Puma as well. It's so just that like traditional motorsport style, and it's like just give us something cute.
literally, I
Give us
feel
something cute.
like, and this is why I also love female fans again, because do you guys remember seeing the girl that did the beaded McLaren dress? Like,
Yes.
I think it was last week, and she hand beaded that McLaren dress in the style of like the Clio Peppy out dresses. I don't know if that's exactly how to pronounce it. It was,
It was amazing.
My God, that would, and from someone who's taken up beading, that would have taken days and days and days and days. And but I was like, you know, that was amazing. Like, it's incredible. Even when Chanel did the Formula One t-shirt, like, which was the beaded one, similar to this, and I remember my sales associate at Chanel was like, I've got you one of the t-shirts, and I was like, I don't have $4,000 to spend on a t-shirt because that's insane. But still, it's like there is such scope for it, but it's not happening. And I really want to see it, because I just feel like this is the biggest disappointment for female fans right now is the lack of cute options to wear. So I hope we see more of that.
Agreed.
What else would you love to see more in the F1 world when it comes to inclusivity and representation, like just beyond fashion as well?
I think like I really am rooting for F1 Academy to do well, and I know there's a lot of criticisms of it, of like, and I'm not just from the whole like aspect of like men being like women in cars, but it's like, you know, I feel like, you know, there's criticism of being like the cars need to be more competitive, put them in faster cars and all this stuff. But I hope F1 Academy like does well and they get more people behind it. And I feel like, you know, doing the Charlotte Tilbury, you know, having them as a sponsor was a great move in direction for them, and getting more sponsors on board like that. I think that I just really hope that they galvanize on any good traction that they have to really pull more people into it. So I'd love to see that space grow. And I'd also really love to see more brands get involved, like female-based brands get more involved in this. Like, you know, Elemis, skincare sponsor for Aston Martin now, which is amazing. So seeing more of that stuff, and I think just hosting more events for creators as well, with a heavy with more inviting more like female creators. And obviously I'm saying this because once again this would benefit myself, female friends, but like the amount of times I see like guys back to the whole like people who aren't fans being invited to things, I see so many guys being invited to Formula One events because they're men and they're not interested in Formula One. They're just like, oh yeah, sports, so it's cool, and they go along to it, and they're not necessarily fans. So like, you know, inviting women to do things and making it more of a female friendly space and putting on more things. And I also think even just putting on more stuff for the fans and like giving opportunity for like super fans to like win tickets to certain events. Like, I know it already happens, but doing that more so. I think like it's such a difficult sport because it's so expensive to get tickets to and things like that, and obviously behind like paywalls and Sky and all of this stuff, I think just making it more accessible by running as many events as possible would be really, really cool and a really great way of giving back to fans like across the board.
I actually think that's something that Visa Cash App is doing really well at the moment. Is they've got this like creator network. I'm not sure if you've seen it, and you can apply to be on it. And they're looking for anyone and everyone. You could be a painter, a DJ. I think there was like a seamstress option as well. They just want to get anyone that's creative to sign up, and then they're going to see if that you can fit into opportunities as well. It's amazing.
It is amazing. I went to their event they took me to F1 75, and they did this event beforehand and rented out this like cool like theater place in East London and had a DJ, and then they had someone there, like, you know, so that this creative like person doing illustrations of the guests that they were then handing out. And oh my God, it was the cutest. They did like this little illustration of me and my friend, and we were just chatting away, and they'd like, it was really amazing because they dressed us for the event, so we got dressed in Hugo clothes for it, which was really sick as well. And then so we had this little illustration, me and my friend, of us and our like Hugo out, like, you know, like kid out in our Hugo clothes, and it was just a nice little touch to have. So it's just really cool that they're doing these things at their events. They're thinking of these extra little things that are really nice touches. And I think, you know what, I think some of the teams are obviously kind of more concerned with kind of remaining that like level of exclusive, and I think that's cool. It's almost like when you look at it from a fashion parallel, it's like looking at like a Chanel or Hermes versus your like ASOS kind of thing. It is almost looking at that aspect, and like, but I do think that ultimately when the sport is driven by fans, it really matters what people like bringing them into it.
Yeah, definitely. And with, you know, with this whole new generation falling in love with the sport, like, and obviously especially women and younger fans, what do you hope this new era leaves behind?
I really hope it leaves behind a safer space for women to enjoy the sport, and whether it's just men piping down with their snarky little comments when you say I'm a Formula One fan, so women can.
That'd be nice.
I like Formula One, and you know they can actually have it, and like also just a space for people to like create, and also feel like it's okay to like enjoy the sport and be like, oh, things are like. I can like my girly bows and my beaded tees, and I can also like this like hardcore, really fucking cool sport as well. Like, you know, I can find a driver attractive whilst also thinking, oh my God, like what an incredible sportsman that is. Like, this is an amazing sport. These things don't have to be like mutually exclusive. Like, they can be things that overlap. And I just hope that this era leaves behind just a safer space for women to enjoy it and just not feel patronized and not feel like their voice and their opinion on the sport matters.
100%. I mean, there's such a misconception of fans, which we've talked about, and especially being female fans. But what is one misconception of being a female fan of F1 that you really want to shut down once and for all? If you could leave a final note to someone and be like,
Oh, it would have to annoyingly be the whole like, oh my God, you only like the sport because you fancy the drivers. That one, honestly, still, I cannot. I mean, Christian Horner, we've partly used to thank for that, but you know, it's one of the things where it's like I would love for that to go. I would love for that to not be the first thing out of someone's mouth, or actually secondary to that, it actually would be. I always have more to say. It would be the whole like, oh, you're just a drive to survive. It doesn't matter how you here. What matters is that you're here and that you enjoy it, and you found something that makes you feel good and that you get enjoyment out of. Because at the end of the day, like, Jesus Christ, like, life can be really miserable. Like, find enjoyment in things. If you find something that you love and enjoy, brilliant, good for you. That's great. That's all we can like ever hope for.
So true. You know, last year we interviewed Esteban Ocon and we spoke about the Drive to Survive conversation, and he was like, I don't understand what the issue is. Like, it just means there's more fans. It just means like more fans equals more money. Like,
literally. Yep, exactly.
You know, the sport's evolving.
Exactly. This is a thing. And I do understand there's some people who are like, oh, it's so hard to get tickets and the tickets are more expensive because there's more fans. But then even people who say that can always then still say, but like the sport is growing as a result and it is becoming better. And like, it's like, that's the thing. Like, nothing with growth, there's always like negatives to it, but there's usually always like major positives. And I just think it's such an exciting space. And it's like, it's really nice feeling like you're part of something as well. I've never really been part of like a real fandom apart from Taylor Swift. So yeah, it's great to be mentioned both.
We're very happy to have you here. Now, just to finish off, we're going to fire some rapid fire questions at you. And I'm very aware there's a delay here on my end, so this may be interesting how we go on this. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Favorite driver?
Lewis Hamilton.
Pineapple on pizza?
Yes.
Disappointed Pat there. Ketchup sauce in the fridge.
Yeah, in the fridge. Yeah.
Still think that's weird. I think that's weird. What about chocolate in the fridge?
It's weird you put it in the pantry. Doesn't it go off?
No.
You got to keep it fresh in the fridge, you know? Yeah.
It can go in the pantry. Chocolate in the fridge.
Yeah, chocolate in the fridge. Actually, no. I don't know. I think I would. Depends on the weather.
Dream brand collab with F1. Like, if any brand could partner with F1, what would it be?
Something to do with Ferrari. It's got to be something to do with Ferrari. Yeah.
Do you think it would be makeup with Ferrari, or it'd be clothing?
Clothing with Ferrari. Some cool Ferrari clothing collab would be just to die for.
Do you like the Ferrari clothing brand?
I actually do. When I was in Maranello, that I really like their stuff, and I think they've dialed it up a notch even more so since Lewis said that he was going to be going there. They were like, oh, holy shit! Okay, let's up our game.
We've got someone to impress.
I
Paddock.
Yeah, yeah, I love their stuff.
Favorite team principal?
Fred Vasseur.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs, because I have a dog.
Who is going to be 2025 world champion?
Oscar Piastri. Woo! Yeah, I'm saying it. I just love it. I love Oscar.
Woo.
And who is your favorite F1 team?
Right now, McLaren.
Okay, on that then, what is your dream track to go to watch a race?
Singapore. I just really want to go to Singapore.
Oh, no.
I think it'd be sick. Like, it's a night race. It's so cool. I'd love to. There's so many. It's such a hard one, but Singapore is always the one that comes to my head first.
Yeah, me too as well.
What races have you been to? What tracks have you been to?
I've only done Silverstone. But I'm really hoping this year I'll get to do more by somewhere. I'm just really manifesting Monaco as well, because Monaco is obviously it's not the most fun race, but it's the coolest. It's the vibes, it's everything. It's just incredible to do that. I would love Australia next year. Gonna make it happen. So
you're coming. We're making you come.
I feel like you're definitely coming. I feel like you're lucky. You've got the beauty of being closer to things, so you could literally be like, I'm gonna go to Italy tomorrow and
I'll do that. Yeah, exactly.
You're definitely gonna come to Australia next year. We're manifesting it.
Yes,
I'm going to stay in Elle's spare bedroom.
Yep.
I'm very tidy.
Yeah.
Good. And
we've got good coffee.
And we've got 2 dogs, so you'll be fine.
I love dogs.
What dog do you have, Soph?
I have a Pomeranian. He's literally trying to get my suitcase. You can kind of see his little head there. He's just staring.
Oh my God, so
cute. He's very cute, but I think he's got someone else for too long, and he's now sneezing for attention. So
yeah, fair enough. It has been so lovely to chat to you, and thank you so much for staying up late over in the UK for us. We've just really enjoyed it. It's so refreshing to speak to another female fan as well that is coming from such an important part of knowledge on the brand creator side, a brand owner, and a fan side, as well as consumer. I think it's such an interesting mix, and I think you've given a lot of insight to people and telling them to pretty much shut up. We're just here to have fun and don't make fun of us. We're all in this together.
Here.
I love telling them to shut up. Yeah, exactly. No, thank you guys for having me on. It's been so much fun, and I really loved. I could yap about this all day if you.
Oh, so could we.
So yeah,
so could we.
So could we.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Soph. Well, we'll see you
in Australia.
We will see you
in Australia. I'm going to Australia next year, guys.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll be in London in October, so I'll see you then.
That's amazing. Perfect. Please. I'd love that.
Yeah.
And also
go and get a drink.
For any fans out there that are UK based as well, you have your meetups as well, where you host F1 events.
Oh my God. I can't believe Yeah, so I have a community for women to make friends in London, and we have a lot of Formula One fans in there. And we do we don't do them every single race, but we do race watch parties. Now we're at the more sensibly timed for Europe races. We do race watch parties probably once a month, and also the girls meet up and watch it together anyway. It's really nice. We've got our own like group chat for the F1 fans, and they're organising to go to Silverstone together. So if you want female F1 fans to watch races with, join it. It's called New Circle Society, and we have a website where you can sign up and then come along, and it's really fun. So yeah.
Fun.
So good. It's funny. You're like, now that it's in our time zone, we're like, our watch parties are not going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Not in our time zone.
It's not possible. Not
Well,
possible.
hopefully one day we all get to watch it together.
That would be the dream. I'd love
wherever
that.
it may be.
Yeah.
All right.
Lovely.
Thanks
so much, Soph. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.